Jenny with Jenny's Wreath Boutique, and today I want to teach you the 3 things that I did in my Etsy shop to help it really take off. My Etsy shop when it started was a little bit slow, as I mentioned in the last video, but after I incorporated these 3 things that I'm about to teach you, it really helped, and my Etsy shop has been a success since then. The first thing I did in my Etsy shop to really help it take off was I took better pictures. You could have the best product, but if you don't have a good picture of it, no one's gonna buy it. It has to really stand out, especially on Etsy. There are so many listings, so many different products out there, probably similar to what you're selling or the exact same, and your picture will make that stand out above the others. Part of what made my pictures better was I had a really nice cohesive background. I had this lath wood from my brother's house renovation. I talked about it in my last video where I talk about how I started my Etsy shop and that whole process. If you haven't watched it, you can watch it here, I'll link it. I had this background and it was really cute. It was rustic looking. It really ties in with my wreaths. It's simple, but it has nice character. So I have a brown one, and then I also painted one white. Those 2 different backgrounds, they look the same but different, and they really add a lot of cohesiveness to my shop. And I can take my pictures outside in the shade. That's where I get the best lighting, and my pictures have really looked so much better since I've started doing that, and my shop has a more cohesive look. When you have great pictures, not only does it stop people in their scroll, your products really stand out in Etsy, but other people want to feature them, and it's unique enough that when people see my wreaths, they know it's from my shop, which is awesome. I've actually been, here's a little side note, I've been featured in a few different publications online that I didn't even know about. I would just notice an increase in my traffic all of a sudden. But other wreath makers would message me, hey, I saw one of your wreaths featured in this magazine or this thing. And so I would get so excited, but they knew it was mine. And I think a huge part of that is because of the background I use. No one else has it, at least that I've seen. Another thing that's really helped me take better pictures is I take them outside in the shade. You don't want to have a lot of shadows, and I found that outside in the shade, it's the most natural lighting for especially my product. After I take my pictures, I just edit them on my iPhone. Usually I don't have to do too much because I take them outside in the shade, like I said, and I just have to brighten them up just a tad, maybe adjust the warm or cool tones, but I don't do much more than that. It's really simple. They look natural but bright, and that makes a huge difference. There is a lot of competition on Etsy, so having great pictures will help customers stop, pick your wreath out of all the others, and you will eventually get more sales because of that. Another great reason to have great pictures, and this is a big one, you guys, and this really boosted my shop, is you will get featured a lot more often if your pictures are good. I had a pumpkin wreath, a burlap pumpkin wreath. It was cute, it was simple and sweet. It wasn't anything crazy or out of the ordinary or super unique, but it was cute and it had a cute little picture. Etsy featured it on their main page, on their Halloween shop in 2017, I believe it was. I had noticed that I could not keep these wreaths in stock, and it was so crazy. So I looked on Etsy's main page because I looked at my analytics and I saw that's where most of my traffic was coming from. It was featured in Etsy's Halloween shop. So I could not keep that wreath in stock that year. It was crazy. And there have been other times when I've been featured in other publications, or I had one in Women's Day online and some other things like that. And that has always provided a really good jump in traffic and sales. The second thing that has really helped my Etsy shop take off is find what sells and make multiples. Multiples. You have to have multiples. You can sell one-of-a-kind things, which is great and it's fun. I love making one-of-a-kind wreaths to sell. It's really good for my creativity. It helps get rid of supplies that I have left. But multiples. Find what is popular and make as many multiples as you can. The way Etsy's algorithm works is if there's a popular item and it sells, and then it sells again, and then it sells again, and then it sells again, it is higher up in search. Eventually you'll get a little bestseller badge, which is awesome. It helps you rank high. There's nothing better. Good pictures and multiples. That will get you ranked high in Etsy. That pumpkin wreath that I was just talking about, I made so many of that wreath. I would constantly sell out, and then I would restock it as soon as I could, and I couldn't keep it in stock. I wish I would have had more stock because I could have sold even more. And if you looked up pumpkin wreath that year, just pumpkin wreath in the Etsy search, it would be number one on the list. Number one, sometimes number two, out of thousands of pumpkin wreaths. And it wasn't any better. I mean, it was better than some, but I wouldn't say it was the best looking wreath. There was lots of other great wreaths there, but because I had so many multiples and it sold over and over and over, Etsy ranked it really high. Etsy is a business. They want to make money. If they know that your item will make them money, they will rank it higher. Even though my pumpkin wreath isn't being featured anymore by Etsy, it still ranks really high in the search results because it sold so many. And Etsy's algorithm favors multiples. It is really, really hard to rank a one-of-a-kind wreath. It may be beautiful, but it's hard to rank on Etsy all by itself. So after that pumpkin wreath got a lot of traffic to my shop, but then fall was coming to an end, I needed to have some Christmas wreaths. Every season I talked to my husband, I'm like, all right, what's gonna be this year's pumpkin wreath? And that's kind of what we call the popular wreath for the season. After I had all that boost in traffic from the pumpkin wreath, and I sold other wreaths in my shop too. It's just that pumpkin wreath was really my first viral wreath, I guess you could say. And then that Christmas, I made a bunch of new wreaths, trying to figure out which one's gonna be really popular, what can I make a bunch of. And I actually made about 4 or 5 wreaths that were really, really popular that year. It wasn't just one that stood out. I had a magnolia wreath with mixed greenery in it and red berries and cute white magnolia flowers. That was super popular, and it's been popular every year, and the more I sell, the higher it ranks. It's how Etsy's algorithm works, and it's great, especially if you understand it. I had a red burlap Christmas wreath, and I had just a simple burlap Christmas wreath with red buffalo check bow, and that pattern bow really got that wreath ranking high. I had a trendy pattern on it, and I had a nice picture. When you combine those two things, it really helps it rank. And so I made many multiples of that wreath, and that was one that was featured in Women's Day, which is crazy. And I had a boost in traffic for that wreath, and I sold a lot of them. And I really didn't know why, because I didn't know where all the traffic was coming from, and it turns out it was featured in a Women's Day magazine online. Pretty exciting, right? Yeah, so figure out what is popular, what is selling for every season, and make multiples of that. So every season I repeated that process. I would make a lot of new wreaths, and I would figure out which ones were starting to sell more, and then I would make multiples of those wreaths. The third thing I did that really helped my Etsy shop take off was I made a better product. My wreaths have gotten so much better over the years of making them. And after about that first year of making wreaths, I was able to buy better supplies, buy more supplies, so I could play around with different things and see what worked well together, and then list them and see what was popular. And through that process, my wreaths have gotten so much better. Obviously, with a better product, you're going to sell more as long as you have good pictures and make multiples. When you have a great product, great pictures, and you make multiples of that product, you will rank higher in Etsy's algorithm. Your listings will be seen, your shop will be seen, you will get featured, and this all snowballs into having more traffic to your Etsy shop, more sales, and just overall just better. I hope you liked this video. If it was helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you haven't done that already. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye!